What is good, and welcome to the LAFC podcast your mother warned you about. That's right. This is Defenders of the Bank, and we're just 3 away. This is episode 397 of Defenders. You know my voice. It's the Scarf, J.R. Liebert, coming to you live from in front of this right here behind me. Beautiful Lawndale, California, but coming to you live from world-famous Philomonster Studios, my partner in pod. I give you one Christian Philly Philemon.
Hello, Los Angeles. Hello, lovers of the black and gold. Hello, fans of Major League Soccer. Hello to the millions.
And millions.
Of LAFC fans. We are back. I am back. Together we are back. Scarf, I found this hat. And this hat's probably had more tenure in the LAFC world than some of the fans that listen to our podcast. Now, I'm not taking stabs at people. I'm just saying this hat is old because I realize how old it is because it is squeezing the heck out of my cerebellum right now. Probably going to have to take it off. But the fact that I dug through my closet and I found hats that go back to 2018, I didn't realize the human head can continue to grow once you've stepped beyond the third floor and onto the fourth. But I am living proof with this 10-year-old LAFC hat that one's head can grow.
I don't think anybody who knows you would deny that maybe your head's gotten a little bit bigger over the last 6
because apparently I peacock, according to some.
Either way, come on, you left that on a platter for me. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that one. Look, fun, by the way, fun night. It is Sunday, March 1st, 9:06 p.m. LAFC 2, the match just ended. They win on PKs after blowing a 2-0 lead. So the LAFC 2 season has started. They got 2 points in this one. Over at Philly, I'm always going to chuckle when I see that LAFC or LAFC 2 is playing out at Starfire Sports Complex there in Tukwila. I will never forget Hugo Lloris set to take the goal kick, and behind him, a giant choo-choo train just comes a-rolling through. That was one of the funnier things I think I've ever seen. So,
it's chugga-chugga-woo-woo behind Lloris in the U.S. Open Cup. Oh, that's the beauty of the Open Cup, though. I mean, that's the beauty of the small-sided games. I'm sure you've seen that stadium where there's literally like a train that goes right like through the touch line of the pitch. I forget exactly off the top of my head where that is, but that's not too far off, man.
Oh, dude. And honestly, I'd love to play in some of those small-sided tournaments, but Don Garber, in his infinite wisdom, we're likely not playing in the U.S. Open Cup for a second season in a row. Philly, before we talk about anything else, I think off the top, we won't do this for this day in LAFC history. We'll do it right off the top. Happy birthday to our club legend, the man himself, our number 10, Carlos Vela.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If there's ever a player that deserves an LAFC statue, it's that man. I mean, taking a gamble on a club that never existed in the prime of his career, what he did for us, the joy he created for us, just unbelievable. I'm thinking at the age of 36, which is what he is right now, that he still had a little more to offer. But obviously, he was done. He said, no thanks. I would have loved if he would have joined his homie Marco Fabian playing for the Empire Strikers in the Major Arena Soccer League, but over 150 games with LAFC, a significant career going back to La Liga with Real Sociedad, short tenure with West Bromwich, Osasuna, Salamanca, obviously Celta Vigo. One of my favorite stories, Scarf, about how beautiful the game of football is. It's 2018, before LAFC ever played a game. It's February. I'm in a little village in the middle of Bali, a town called Ubud. I dart into a bar with Panda as we're trying to shelter ourselves from the rain. There's like 4 people in the bar. And one happens to come up to me and it's like, oh, LAFC Carlos Vela. And I look at him and I immediately ask, how the hell did you know that? It's February. We haven't even played. Turns out that he was a gunner and remembered Carlos Vela from his tenure playing for Arsenal, albeit a short tenure. And at that's when you realize the beauty of football. You can really get engaged in conversation with anybody anywhere in the world regarding the most random of things. Noted the LAFC hat in the middle of nowhere is a beautiful thing. But shout out to El Rey himself and happy freaking birthday.
Yeah, born March 1st, 1989. Born a little bit before that. Peter Guber, also, by the way, happy birthday to Peter Guber, part of our ownership group, and certainly a very successful man in his own right. My goodness.
Oh, my gosh. You just have to go back to the OG Batman. I mean, the one thing that Peter Guber has, I know you're in love with, is the fact that he had a tenure at Syracuse academically. I know you love the Orange. He went there for his undergrad, went to NYU to get his JD, and I don't know what other education, but I mean, dude, he did the Michael Keaton Batman and obviously a lot of other things. He's been involved in some pretty awesome stuff in the world of film.
Yeah, he's had a pretty charmed life, that's for sure. I'll never forget. We are at Carson. I think it might have been 2021 or so, maybe 2022.
No, it was like 2019. You and I just started the pod. That's when you and I were in that little like Amex Champions Lounge, right? Yeah. No, that was before COVID hit.
Okay, so it was pre-COVID. You and I are just sitting there chatting, and you know, some of we had started the pod like a year before, and so some of the people kind of knew us, and they were kind of looking for a safe space to have Peter Guber and his wife sit for a little bit. And you and I are just sitting there minding our own business. There's 2 seats at our table, and they come up to us and they go, "Hey, would it be okay if we have a couple people here sit next to you just for a little bit while we take care of some things?" We're like, "Yeah, sure." It's Peter Guber and his wife that sit down, and we're just like, "Oh, hi, Mr. Guber." Like, I felt like Mr. Guber for sure.
Oh, yeah, we both look like Gubers. Like, so, how you doing? How about that black and gold, right? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but he was very nice, and no, we were not.
He was great. I just didn't want to bother the poor man. I felt terrible that he got stuck sitting with us. But
that's a man who's seen some things, Scarf. I think as per the Wikipedias, he turns 84 today. That man's lived a life.
Yeah, no, for sure. And a very successful one. So look, we don't normally spend the first 5 or 10 minutes of a podcast talking about birthdays, but I mean, look,
we used to.
I know we used to, that's for sure. The guy also co-owns the Golden State Warriors, the LA Dodgers. He's done a couple of things, by the way. So, all right, let's get into it. Philly LAFC, of course, looking to make history as they traveled on the road for the first time in the 2026 MLS regular season, seeking their 4th straight win to open 2026. They have never done. Baby. Yeah, they've never done that before. We did it in 2023. We had 3 straight. And to do so, Philly, as we know, we'd have to win in a place where we have been downright terrible. Only 1 win in 8 tries at Shell Energy Stadium in Houston. And Philly, after another dominant defensive performance from LAFC, a 2nd straight clean sheet and 3 saves from the old man between the pipes, Hugo Lloris, and a rare offensive night from our midfield, baby. Black and gold go to 4-0 to start the season, defeating the Houston Dynamo 2-0. And of course, Philly, the storyline going into that was Matty Bogusz meeting up with his old boys again.
I think it's a really good omen that we go to Houston right off the bats and win a game. And to your point, 1 win, 4 losses, 3 draws. We never had a lot of success going down to Houston. In fact, the Lone Star State, for the most part, has been a house of horrors for LAFC all across the board, whether it be FC Dallas. We've had a little more luck against Austin, but Houston downright awful. Beating them on the road at home, 4th straight win, another clean sheet. And yeah, look, we did it with 11 versus 9. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there and pundits that think we should have probably crippled Houston a little more, but a win's a win. 3 months from now, I don't think any of us are going to remember the fact that there were 2, in some cases, very soft red cards issued in that game, and that LAFC only won 2-0. Maybe we'll remember, but at that point, I guarantee most of y'all, including myself, will have lost a few more brain cells between now and then, and we're not even going to think about this result. Either way, we come out with a dub, 3 points, off to the races, man, and a sign of good things to come.
Yeah, Johnny Trace in the chat. Absolutely right. It's been hard for LAFC to go in Texas. And look, Philly, 3 points on the road, like you said, is 3 points on the road. It doesn't matter how you get road wins. If you can stack those, it very likely will lead to a high seed in the table for sure. Look, a quick bit of news and notes. Kickoff time for LAFC's away match in Minnesota. By the way, how do you announce James Rodriguez How do you sell scarves and T-shirts of James Rodriguez? How do you put James Rodriguez in the 18 and then not bring him in at home if you're Minnesota? I just don't understand. But either way, Saturday, April 25th, if you were planning on going to see James Rodriguez and the Loons in Minnesota at Allianz Field, kickoff time has moved back 3 hours. So you get to sleep in a little bit more there in Minnesota. 1:30 p.m. kickoff instead of 10:30. But Philly, I'd be pissed if I went to that game, saw James in the 18, and he doesn't come in. What?
Yeah, I'd be pissed, but I'm kind of hungry. I wouldn't mind some hummus, Rodriguez. That was a dad joke right there. No, of course, I would be pissed as well. Minnesota is a place that I really would like to catch a game, man. Like, that ballpark is nice. The Loons put on a great atmosphere. I'd be more content going in there as a neutral, seeing them win and hearing the entire end. I think it's their north end, singing Oasis's Wonderwall. I think that'd be a beautiful thing. But I just, it's still odd to me that James Rodriguez is in the MLS. It's even wilder to me that he's in Minnesota, of all places. I would have thought he would have gone to New York. I would have thought he would have been somewhere in LA. Miami seems to find ways to bend the rules to bring basically everybody and anybody down there. But for him to end up in Minnesota, it's just such an odd thing. Hey, more power to you, man. The Twin Cities, I hope they embrace you the same way that LA embraced Sonny, Denny, Carlos, and everybody but Olivier Giroud.
Yeah, Philly, not just James Rodriguez in Minnesota, potentially Griezmann coming to Orlando, Josh Sargent in Toronto. What was the other one? Oh, Timo Werner landing
that
in San
to me is comical. I think his agent bamboozled him. He was like, hey, we'll go to California. Hey, we'll go to an MLS team that's got a lot of tenure. Hey, we're going to go to a place where you can have a lot of fun. Yeah. You got swindled, my man. Timo Werner being a Smurf. What another crock of shit.
But by the way, he did get an assist on his debut, and they look pretty good. So we'll actually talk about San Jose in a second. Let's talk some very quick LAFC 2 news.
I would rather be at Leon than what I just mentioned.
Interesting.
Talking all things entertainment. By the way, a great name. Speaking entertainment, Scarf.
Yeah.
If you're wondering, hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to get that cough out of my system. I just came back from the Pantages Theater. Six was the musical I went to go see with Panda, Nina, and Liz. Are you aware of the musical Six?
I am aware. It's about Henry VIII's wives, I believe, right?
It's unbelievable how many people know divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. More people know the story of Henry VIII's ex-wives than they know how to spell Mississippi. Blows my mind.
Yeah, how was it? You were talking about it. How was it?
It was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was an hour and about an hour and a half, an hour 45 minutes. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And what I enjoyed even more was the fact that I stepped outside. It was still 70 degrees, and it took me 20 minutes to get back to Burbank. So here's Pantages. I think I want to get season tickets for there. They got a lot of cool plays going on. Tina Turner. They got a Monty Python thing going. They got a Beetlejuice on Thursday. The new calendar comes out. So check out Pantages Theater. A lot of cool stuff going on there.
Philly just finding the Pantages for the first time. That's no,
fun. Not the first time. The last time I went was 2017. Panda and I had just moved in. A year after we just moved in, I saw Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Front row. That's the last time I was at the Pantages.
I love it. All right, a couple quick bits of LAFC 2 news. We do actually cover LAFC 2 on this pod from time to time. New LAFC 2 head coach Fabian Sandoval has a new assistant coach on his staff, and Philly, it's someone who both longtime supporters and fans of LAFC and, of course, longtime listeners here on Defenders are going to be very familiar with. It's the Ghost. Alejandro Guido has signed on as a coach. Yeah, there you go. Guido was on the LAFC roster for 2 seasons from 2019 and 2020, joining the Black and Gold after a long stint with Xolos. However, he never played first-team minutes for LAFC and appeared to leave things on not-so-great terms off the playing field. But he's
what
actually
game was that?
I was
what
trying
game
to think
was
of
that? He was set to go in.
Yep.
Bob told him to go in. He took off his penny. Then Bob changed his mind. And then Guido, pissed off as all hell, stormed back into the locker room. And that's the last time we saw him wearing
That's the last we saw him. It was because Carlos Vela, he kind of He had been hurt a little bit a couple games before that. He went down. So Bob called him over, and Vela actually came over and said, no, I'm fine. Leave me on. And yeah, Guido lost it there, got all upset, threw his penny, went in the locker room. He's actually been coaching at LAFC in the LAFC system since July of 2025, serving as the Academy's U18 head coach, which he will still continue to be the Academy's U18 head coach. Johnny, yeah, we were watching the LAFC 2 game here. LAFC 2, by the way, adding 7 Californians to its roster ahead of the season opener today. And that just made me think of that SNL skit, The Californians. What are you doing here? Anyways.
What about that guy, 11 Yanks, who talked about how no MLS, like MLS, the new, I don't know if you saw the tweet when LAFC took on Miami, and he mentioned like no American-born talent. He went on that tirade. Did you see that post?
I did. I
mean, kind of a joke. Here we are, 7 Californians, bro. Like, shut up.
No, I think it's cool that LAFC 2 is adding like young local talent, because that means they get to play close to home, which is great because they're all teenagers. Someone needs to pack their lunch and tie their shoes for them a lot of the times. Goalkeeper Ethan Scally, defenders Giuliano Whitchurch, Travis Babineau, and Luke Goodman, midfielders Gavin Zambrano and Eddie Vieta, and forward Ernesto Rodriguez. Congratulations to them. One of the guys is from Crenshaw, another from Compton, so it's pretty cool to see them bringing in the local talent. And they did win on PKs. They were up 2-0, and then Tacoma Defiant stormed back. Matt Evans scored one of the goals. Cabral Carter, Jude Terry both got the start. So we keep an eye on LAFC 2 here on the podcast, because on occasion, some of our fringe roster players or players who are rehabbing from injury do go down to LAFC 2 to get some minutes. Their home matches are just steps away from BMO Stadium at Rawlinson this year at USC. But Philly, I heard an interesting thing. It's actually because of the USC women's lacrosse team who gets first rights at their schedule that LAFC 2 will have to play the majority of their matches on the road this year instead of Rawlinson.
I just watched a video on YouTube about the unveiling of their $40 million stadium, the women's lacrosse team. They showed the lacrosse house, the training. Like, it's just unbelievable the amount of money that USC has for all their athletic programs. I mean, you and I have called games for the past couple of years in the Big West, and all that stuff pales into comparison to what USC invests in just one program, in particular, a women's lacrosse team. And look, not for nothing, no disrespect to the West Coast, but lacrosse is an East Coast, Midwest, and Colorado-based sport. But obviously USC's done some stuff on the women's side. They've won some titles there. So, hey, they got that money. They obviously know how to win, and the investment is theirs. I get it. And
it's not quite as East Coast as it used to be. I'm Loyola High School, very, very good at lacrosse. Not like field hockey or like that. Like, that's still super East. And by the way, back to what they're saying about no American talent.
Are you robotic, or is it just me? Defenders, somebody in the chat chime in. Scarf sounds robotic, and it looks like he's buffering. I don't know if it's me, if it's my brain buffering. This fireball is like 80 proof. You kind of buffered, bro.
Do I sound okay now? I don't know.
Well, I mean, you've never looked okay, but at least now you kind of look okay.
Either way,
all right. So it wasn't just me. So Scarf,
it's me. I don't know what I did.
Interminet.
Yeah, I got full bore everything on my internet. Sorry. Do I sound better now?
Yes.
It's fixed. All right, it's fixed.
Looking better. The jury's still out on that one, but we can move on.
Well, look, imagine, Philly, if you or I complained about, it's Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor. Why isn't there some American talent on the New York Metropolitans? Or imagine being upset that Luka Doncic is the best player on the Lakers. Where's the American? Like, it's so ridiculous and I would rather LAFC bring the best collection of talent. It's not, look, just because Inter Miami is bringing all the Argentinians in doesn't mean that's how every team works. Let's be real here. I'll do the robot for Johnny. There you go.
Wait, is this in relation to my comment about 11 Yanks?
Yeah, I just think it's absolutely
that was such a clown. That was such a clown ass comment, man. Like,
it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely.
I think I met that dude at the coaches convention in Kansas City. What a pretentious prick. That's all I'm going to say.
Philly, we want to keep a lower profile on things like that.
Oh, man, a prick's a prick. And obviously you said something prickish, so all he did was reiterate what I had already thought years ago meeting that dumbass in Kansas City.
This is just a quick reminder that sometimes the words of one Christian Philly Philemon do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of defenders of the bank. And
I mean, this could find its way back to him. I don't give a
oh, fluffhead.
I mean, God bless your fluffhead. I'm not going to recite this. If you're wondering what we're laughing at, well, then tune into, I would say, the 20-minute mark on this pod, YouTube, and you as well can have a yank. Excuse me, a laugh.
The Believe Network loves us right now, that's for sure. Look, LAFC traveling to beautiful Houston, Texas in February. I would much rather go to Houston in February than go to Houston in July or August, that's for sure. Shell Energy Stadium, though, like Philly had already talked about, it has not been kind. 1 win, 4 losses, 3 draws in our 8 chances there before. Last season, Houston just 9 wins in 34 MLS regular season matches, 37 points on the season, a minus 13 goal differential, 12th in the West, 4 points out of a playoff spot. And look, we've been really good against Houston at home and really bad against Houston on the road. It's very simple. Our only win against Houston came all the way back in 2019 in a 3-1 victory. 2 of those goals scored by Adama Diomande. I was watching LAFC Weekly this week, and they had a whole thing on Adama Diomande and his goals. That was cool. Lee Win assisted on both of Adama Diamande's goals. And in that one, Philly, we got to play Name That Perez. It was Joshua Perez who assisted on the 3rd goal. Diego Rossi scoring that goal. And by the way, coming on for Josh Perez in the 89th minute of that match would be Eddie Segura, who would still be playing a factor here in 2026. Look, it was an interesting time back then in 2019. We won't go through the entire starting lineup, but let's just say.
What does Lee Win and Tommy Mihailovic, who scored for LAFC 2, have in common, Scarf?
What do Lee Win and
Tommy Mihailovic have in common?
Tommy Mihailovic. Their first names are both drummer of Motley Crue.
What do they have in common with Philly?
What do they have in common with you is what you asked.
No, I asked you the first question. I'm going to give you another hint. What do they have in common with me?
What do they have in common with you?
Anybody in the chat can figure this out. I will buy you a round.
Oh, they're all Hoosiers.
All right, there we go. Yes, they are both Indiana Hoosiers. Thank you very much. Lee Win was a freshman at IU when I was a senior. After his freshman year, he went to PSV Eindhoven. Just throwing that out there, some random ass facts for y'all, just so we could educate, entertain, and of course inform you.
There you go. How about starting up top in that match in 2019 was Fito Zelaya. No Carlos Vela in that one. Peter Lee Vassell.
About old school Mark Anthony K, who, by the way, playing with Sacramento Republic right now in the USL. At first, I saw this on your notes, and yeah, believe it or not, I actually looked at your notes for a change. That never happened. When I looked at PLV, I had to scratch my head for a second. I'm like, what the F is the PLV? Peter Lee Vassell, 100%. I remember that. I hung out with him at Pink's Hot Dogs. With him, I think it was Shaft Brewer and Lamar Batista. Oh my God, talk about a flashback of players from back in the day. If you don't know who Lamar Batista is or Shaft Brewer, well, then I mean, you're not really missing much. But that just goes to show you OG-ness.
I mean, Shaft Brewer, Lamar Batista, and Peter Lee Vassell. What? Did nobody come to that event at Pink's Hot Dogs? Why not? I know it's interesting. We've had some fun moments at Pink's Hot Dogs. I got to hang out with Latif when nobody showed up to an event because it was freezing that day.
He's playing in Lexington, by the way?
Yeah, he's back with Lexington. They start their season shortly, so that'll be interesting. Look, for this one, the player availability was the exact same as it was in Miami. 4 leg injuries and a pelvis. Aaron Long, Igor Jesus, Jacob Schaffelberg, Jeremy Abobasi, and Lorenzo Della Valle are all out for Houston. Out in this one would be their midfielder, Artur, Felipe Andrade, Franco Negri, and Ezekiel Ponce, who were listed as questionable going into this, were left out of the 18, which meant that Ben Olsen's bench consisted of only 5 field players. So hopefully, Philly, they wouldn't have anything crazy happen to them.
No red cards or any omissions or any infractions or any people that are going to have to go on hiatus for the next game. No.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about 2 of the guys that they brought in this one. And let's just say that MLS legend head coach Ben Olsen's cupboard is bare. Ben Olsen has been with the Houston Dynamo. Now this is his 4th season. Coming into this, 53 wins, 51 losses, 29 draws. And LAFC defeated the Ben Olsen-led Houston Dynamo 2-0 in the Western Conference Final in 2023 to go play the Columbus Crew. And the only player from Houston who is still, or I should say back, on that roster in 2026 is Hector Herrera. So let's
more like preparation H with the way he's playing these days.
I mean, he's older now. He was what?
I'm saying preparation H rather than double H or Ache.
Yeah,
he was funny. That's funny. Hold on, that's funny.
It's something. I don't know. It's something.
That was actually the wrong button.
I don't even know. I can't hear it on my end, so I have no idea. Oh, there it is. Houston Dynamo come out in a 4-3-3. And look, their player of the match, it was simple. Jonathan Bond was fantastic in this one. And it's hard for me to say, but he was. It's his 10th match versus LAFC. It's tied for the most that he's ever played one single opponent. He only has 3 wins in his previous 9 matches. 19 goals allowed, the most versus any one team in his career. He averages 2.11 goals per game allowed versus LAFC.
Below that average. Way to go.
Yeah, their back line, Dwayne Holmes, Eric Sviatchenko, Captain Antonio Carlos, more on him later, and new defender from Botafogo, Lucas Halter. In the midfield, Lawrence Anali, Jack McGlynn, who scored the only goal in last year's 1-0 loss for LAFC in Houston, and new from the Argentinian First Division, where he played with Thiago Almada, Agustin Buzat. In the midfield, the forwards would be Guilherme, the new 30-year-old Brazilian wing designated player who scored both goals in their season-opening win over Chicago. Andre Linger, who was playing in place of Ezequiel Ponce, and at the final forward spot, not playing in the midfield for them, but playing as a forward, the 24-year-old Polish attacker, that would be Matej Bogusz, their newest designated player. Lest we forget, 24 goals, 19 assists in 90 matches for LAFC, but most of that, of course, happening in the magical 2024 season, where he had 20 goals and 11 assists in 48 matches. He signed with Cruz Azul and scored 3 goals and had 7 assists in 39 matches, although he did win the CONCACAF Champions Cup with Cruz Azul, scoring a goal in the final versus the Vancouver Whitecaps. And he arrived in Houston for reportedly as much as $10 million in total fees. I think LAFC actually retained a piece of that sell-on because it was the original Cruz Azul deal. Just 5 players on the bench we mentioned who are not goalkeepers for Ben Olsen. Of those 5, how about Augustin Resch, the 6'6" Dynamo 2 defender who was called in on a short-term loan. We mentioned Ache Hector Herrera already. Nick Markanich, Diamante Samaseku, and how about a 15-and-a-half-year-old Philly, Matthew Arana, who was signed to a first-team contract 9 days ago. And oh, by the way, if you're waiting for me to mention Franco Escobar or Eric Dueñas, because they were on the team last year, Escobar is now with Peñarol, and Dueñas is now with Querétaro's U21s. That's Houston. Who's got Philly? You've got LAFC.
Yeah, no changes. Same lineup that they had against Miami. Hugo Lloris, Palencia, Porches, Tafari, Eddie Segura in his 188th match. He's one shy now of Carlos Vela, who's got 189. Tillman, Eustaquio, Delgado, David Martinez, our friend who's in the chat right now, Sonny, Danny Bouanga, and then in our 18, Amir Beaudry, Chouanier, Hollingshead, 179th MLS appearance, if I'm not mistaken, Kenny Nielsen, and you were asked about this via your students.
Yeah, don't do it.
Boyd.
There you go.
Just reiterate to the millions.
And millions.
Why I had to hesitate on that one for a second, because we're playing a little game the rest of the season.
Yeah, so the game that Philly, by the way, started, he said, okay, this is going to happen, is if any of us call Tyler Boyd the incorrect first name of Taylor, because I guess Philly knew a Taylor Boyd in his life. He was
the founding father of my fraternity back in 1907.
Yeah, so Philly's worried he might actually accidentally call Tyler Boyd Taylor Boyd on the podcast. So his whole thing is, all right, if we do it, we have to take a shot. And one of my sixth graders,
I already took it, and I didn't mess up.
There you go. One of my sixth graders, who I know is probably listening right now, came up to me at school last week and said, hey, has Philly called Tyler Taylor yet? I just kind of put my head.
That is funny. It just makes me realize I really have to watch what I'm saying. But shout out to you, young gentleman, is it boy, girl?
Dude. Yeah, little dude. Yep.
All right. Shout out to you, my man. That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, no, it was out. Look, I want to tell one other quick story. It's story time here on Defenders. I know we're already a half hour in, but there's not that much to talk about.
We rant and rave. There's other podcasts that get away with ranting and raving. Why should we be, any different? We've been around for a while. We do whatever the F we want to do on the show.
Feeling spicy tonight.
I came back from a man-hating Pantages play.
One of my favorite stories too was recently Philly and I went to the USC Indiana game at Galen Center, and I saw two of my former students, these twin boys who both play soccer, and they know that I have the podcast and everything. They were really excited. And I saw them. I said, "Hey, how are you? What's going on?" And unprovoked, they said to me, "Oh, you're here because of Indiana. Is Philly here with you? We'd love to meet Philly." And it was just so cool to know that, like, they've been graduated. I haven't had them as students for like a full school year, and yet here they are. They're still asking about one Christian Philly Philemon.
No, so that's fun. That was a good memory. And then USC would end up walloping Indiana. By the way, I don't know if you heard, USC, their best player, Baker Mazzara, apparently got into a fight with a coach and got booted. That's a whole nother story. We got mildly heckled leaving Galen. And you know what satisfaction I had turning around, looking at the USC Trojan fans and going, you know what? So who cares? Our football team is better than yours. That felt pretty darn good.
Yeah, look, it was I'll say a boring first half, really. Not a lot going on in the first half in terms of great chances created. Matty Bogusch did a couple of fun things in the half for sure. He definitely looked like one of their best offensive players. Ugo in the 16th minute had a little punch away save on a header by Antonio Carlos. And, other than that, I'd say 21st minute when Timothy Tillman draws that yellow on Jack McGlynn had to play very differently from that time out. And I think, look, for all the grief that Timothy Tillman gets for LAFC, or on LAFC, I should say, because, look, we look at the play that Marky Delgado's had this season and certainly how he started last year. We look at the all-world Stephen Eustachio, who's been incredible and would continue to be so in this match, and you kind of look like Tillman and go, all right, now you. And look, let's not forget, when Timothy Tillman was called into the U.S. men's national team last year, he played in two different matches. They absolutely wiped the floor with Uruguay, and Timothy Tillman played very, very well in that match and in a win. I believe the other one was against Paraguay. I'm not 100% sure, but he played very well in both of the matches that he had an opportunity to put on U.S. colors for. And he is a guy who, look, he might not be flashy, he might not be sparkly, and you might not want the ball at his feet from time to time. But in this one, he does what he does best, and that's drawing a yellow, drawing fouls. In fact, I think 58 fouls last year, 15 or 16 more than any other LAFC player drew over the course of the season. So I give Timothy Tillman a little bit of a break, people.
Timothy Tillman's obviously has been playing a lot better than I've given him credit for. So that again, another good sign of things to come. Winning in Houston, another good sign of things to come. You'll have to forgive me. The ADHD hit me, and when you mentioned Matty Bogusch, do you remember? You're my age. You would kind of remember these things. A cartoon character by the name of Mr. Bogus.
Mr. Bogus. I don't know Mr. Bogus. I'm gonna while you talk about
Bogusch. I think of Mr. Bogus.
Oh, there's Mr. Bogus. I didn't know who that was.
35 minutes and 2 seconds. If you are listening to it, you can watch and see what I think of when we hear now Matty Bogusch. I think of one cartoon, Mr. Bogus.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but That was fun. All right. Joe. No. All right. Look, Sonny was just a little off offensively in this one. I felt like his touches every time he went to go either take a shot or look to make an offensive move, he might have been a little off. Look, again, he still had, because it's MLS, 2 assists in this one. 1 primary assist, 1 secondary. So he was still very, very good in setting up his teammates. I want to know what Denis Bouanga said in the 35th minute. No, not talking trash, Sonny. I want to know what Denis Bouanga said in the 35th minute to earn that yellow card, because the referee stopped what he was doing, turned around, said something to Denis, and then flashed the yellow. I mean, honestly, after that, it becomes the Jonathan Bond show, Philly. He looked great for a couple of sequences there to end the half.
He was never a bad keeper, even when he played for the enemies down the 110. I would say for the longest time, he was probably the best keeper prior to John McCarthy. I mean, Dave Bingham wasn't great, and they had several other keepers that weren't great. Bond, stellar player, quite honestly. Are we still talking about the first half, or are we going straight to the second?
I mean, look, I got to talk about the 37th minute, right, where David Martinez, and he looked...
All right, yeah.
He looked solid in this one. He made that nice little cut inside, found Denis, and Denis, look, it wasn't a great shot by Denis right at Bond, but that's because Bond took away the angle. But Bond spilled it right to Sonny, and then, Sonny had to drag it over to get to his left, but still another good save. And I just thought, again, I thought that he kept them in it and kept them going. Unfortunately, though, in stoppage time, Philly, everything would change for them after the foul happened a foot and a half away from the referee. So I don't know if Houston has a leg to stand on. Sonny certainly didn't after Antonio Carlos chopped him down. But, I mean, Philly, it happens right in front of the referee. I got to go with what he thinks he saw on that one, which looked like a drag to the back of the Achilles by Antonio Carlos.
Listen, it was the most boneheaded play that they possibly could have made. Lay off. You're about ready to go into the locker room. That mistake cost Houston the game. Without question, cost Houston the game. I mean, a straight red. Antonio Carlos is out. Man advantage. And we talk about how plays going into halftime sometimes can sway momentum and create a different approach when teams come out of the locker room. We've seen that countless times when you and I have been on the call doing basketball or soccer or whatever the case may be. That right there is a punch to the nuts. But the interesting thing is Carlos was waiting in the tunnel, and he had a moment, and he apologized to Sonny, which was obviously a classy moment, but just what a boneheaded move, man, by somebody who should know better. You'd expect a little more out of your captain than to make a play like that with really no time left in the half.
I wonder if he was like pissed at Sonny and waiting, or wanted to wait for the officials or what. But as soon as Sonny came over, they started talking. He kind of smiled a little bit. Sonny dabbed him on the back of the head. They shared a little moment. It's got to be difficult to be angry with Sonny. He seems like
he's a gentleman, without question, a gentleman. And I think everybody that plays the game, obviously fans that watch, they see that. But obviously players that engage in competition with him realize that as well. But going into the locker room, LAFC, as always, controlled the vast majority of possession, 9 total shots, only 2 on target, though a couple of big chances. But they really dominated things against Houston in a lot of ways. Unfortunate to not come out with any positive goal-scoring results. But, we would have a couple of those in the second half.
Yeah, look, they start out halftime subbing out Andre Linger for Augustin Resch, who was that 6'6" Dynamo 2 defender who was signed on a short-term loan. And look, the first thing that Max Bredos, and it was really nice to have Max Bredos on the call, the first thing he mentions is, all right, now you get to go mark Sonny. Go ahead. Go from playing in Tukwila.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, go ahead playing in front of the choo-choo train in Tukwila, and now you got a freight train in Sonny that you've got to mark over the next 45 minutes. Had no idea what the heck the LAFC defense was doing in the 47th, where it looked like Nkosi Tafari and Ugo Lloris could not get on the same page. Ugo tries to clear the line, but unfortunately goes right to Augustin Buzat, and Buzat catches Ugo off his line, but played the crossbar challenge on that one. So luckily that one caught all the crossbar. It looked like Ugo would have been there anyway, but it was Ugo's mess that he created. And then Marky Delgado picking up a yellow in the 51st. The momentum started to shift a little bit. I thought that Houston really came out in the second half ready to attack and decide to leave it all out there, right? If you're a man down, sometimes that opens you up a little bit.
It does. But it wouldn't work out well within their favor. I mean, we would have Eustachio who would collect a free kick on the right wing in the 54th minute. Nothing would transpire from there. But 2 minutes later, man, Marky Delgado would find his way into the back of the net. And for people that said Sonny didn't have a great game, he got the assist. He got the assist, and obviously everybody wants him scoring goals, in particular the people that have come over to the black and gold that originally were at Tottenham that don't necessarily care about what team this guy plays for. They just care about him. Yeah, I get it. You want all the offense to flow through Sonny, but he's a team player, and he contributed to the success of his midfielder, Marky Delgado. 56th minute, we get a goal. Perhaps it took a little too long for us to get a goal, but nonetheless, 56th minute, LAFC goes up 1-0.
Yeah, and it's Sonny's 5th primary assist of 2026. I mean, come on. I don't know how much more you want.
Man, like Jesus Christ, he's not going to score every effing goal.
And listen, the other thing is this: when Sonny and Denis have the ball, defenders rotate over to them. So if you can get guys like Marky Delgado, Stefan Eustachio, David Martinez, anybody else to begin to score goals and be looked at as a threat, now you may have to start marking Sonny and Denis with maybe just 1 or 2 defenders rather than 2 or 3. And honestly, Sonny, I didn't say you didn't play well. He's in the chat right now. Sonny just said, and I'm going to put it up on this thing. Scarf said I didn't play well. No, I said
threw him under the bus. I was there to protect him. Sonny, you know who your homie is. We both have ties to Germany. You played at Hamburg. I lived in Frankfurt. You know, I got your back, bro.
I said that when he looked to score, his first touch was a little off, but he still contributed mightily. Oh, boy. Anyways, Sonny with the assist, Denis with the secondary assist on that one, although you guys know I don't believe in the secondary assist. I'd like to be the way every other major league is. But, it is what it is. Philly, the one play that kind of bothered me just a little bit was in the 63rd minute where I thought it was another silly foul and yellow card for Ryan Porteous, where he kind of shoulders the defender for no reason whatsoever. Set piece right at the corner of the box. Look, that's how Real España scored their only goal. It was on a silly foul by Ryan Porteous on a set piece where we didn't defend it well. Luckily, we did defend this well. We defended very well, actually. And just a couple minutes later, dare I say, Philly, reminiscent of a much more talented Latif Blessing, and I love you, Latif, but Amin Boudry coming on for David Martinez, the way that Boudry brings the energy and kind of takes over that playmaker role a little bit in the midfield. It was kind of fun, although Philly, we'd have to wait for, unfortunately, another minute or two because David Martinez took too long, and there's this new rule called the timed substitution rule that a player has 10 seconds to get off once they're told, or else the player subbing on has to wait a minute. Boo!
It's not a bad rule, though. I mean, if you really want to make the game go by. I mean,
I like it.
I'm not opposed to it whatsoever. I think it's the substitution scenario oftentimes is just a mechanism for stalling and moving the game as closer to injury time as possible. I'm not mad at this. It's a little mad that Martinez got caught up on it. I don't know. I guess it's a newer rule for him, but kind of annoying nevertheless.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm mad at Martinez. You got to know the rule. To me, there's no doubt that Marc Dos Santos or somebody on his staff.
Somebody must have been yelling at him.
Hi, Bam. Like Bam's yelling at us right now. There's Bam.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Bam, who's out in Melbourne, Australia right now. If you've ever wondered why we said we're global, well, Bam's a big reason as to why we're global.
Absolutely. Look, I thought that LAFC didn't quite take advantage of their offensive opportunities. I thought that on those long throws into the box, of which there were like 3 of them, we only looked good defending 1, which was a little annoying because I see that set piece defense being questionable. Jack Dickens also in the house, UK, Australia.
Yeah.
We got Sonny. I mean, this is truly a global podcast here. We absolutely
you go
love
back
it.
to our statistics. I mean, we've been aired in over 100 countries. I think a good percentage of our listeners come from the UK, Canada, and Mexico. We had a nice number from Singapore for a little while, although those numbers have since subsided.
Yeah, 121 countries last we checked, which is kind of fun. I don't know. It's great. I love it. Philly, can we talk about Amin Boudry's pass in that 76th minute? The outside of his right foot curls it around the defender to Sonny. Sonny gets taken down. Oh, by the way, if you think I'm hating on Sonny, the reason why we were playing 11v10 and then the reason why we are playing 11v9 is because of Son Heung-min. He drew both fouls, both straight reds, but it's not a straight red unless Amin Boudry makes an absolute dime of a delivery with the outside of his right foot. Philly, that might be the best pass of the season as we look back on 2026.
Yeah, no, it was class. And since we don't have that much of a tracking record on Amin, that was a man's pass, for lack of a better term. I mean, that was world-class pass. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
No, I love it. And of course, it leads to the same exact play. Look, Mark Dos Santos, now clubs have seen this play. So I don't know if we can run it again as successfully as we did, but we ran the same damn play twice, which was pretty great. Short corner, Denis to Sonny to Marky Delgado. And this time, instead of Marky Delgado shooting the ball, he drops it off for Stefan Eustachio, who puts his laces through this one into the back of the net. LAFC 2 leading 2-0. Marky Delgado with the primary assist. Sonny with the secondary assist. His 6th assist, although you go over to Transfer Market and sometimes they don't do the secondary assist. But either way, it was an absolutely incredible laser beam, Philly, from the outside. And LAFC on the back of our midfielders are up 2-0.
I mean, that's where we struggled for a little bit of time last season. Our midfield was probably our weakest link. Thought we had solid defending, good goalkeeping, and some really good goal scorers, in particular towards the last third of the season last year. Now you're seeing what we look like with a world-class midfield. I mean, we've seen some passes from some of these players that have just been on the money, but Stachio's making a very good case for why John Thorrington and LAFC as a whole need to go beyond this loan spell that they have with Porto. This is a kid that deserves to be in our lineup and deserves to maybe give it another game or two. But what has he done for us? He's obviously made us look more lethal, and it just connects every piece of the pitch with fine sound resolution. I mean, hell of a goal. And I mean, when we lost, we've had a couple of midfielders that were on loan in the past. And one player in particular who's on Wrexham right now, he was on the Instagram. Oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? This is what happens when you go see a Pantheon.
Lewis O'Brien?
Yeah, you see.
No, wait, Lewis O'Brien or Andy Morin? Is it Lewis O'Brien?
No, Lewis O'Brien is on Wrexham.
Yes.
He's on Wrexham. But like, we've had some good players, but they haven't stuck around. I'm hoping that Eustachio doesn't go by way of Andy Morin or Lewis O'Brien, because we're getting a little tease of what it's like to have really good midfielders.
Man, and he is so good. Want to take a quick pause to talk about the 88th minute for Houston. The 15-year-old Matthew Aranya comes in for Jack McGlynn. He becomes the youngest player in Houston history to earn first team minutes. He's also, oh, by the way, from Houston, which is pretty cool. 15 years and 6 months old. And he's playing Major League Soccer.
Unbelievable.
Stoppage time, there were actually 3 fun
I got 30 years on that kid. Unbelievable.
Stoppage time, there were actually 3 fun moments. The first of which, Matty Bogusz nutmegging Nkosi Tafare, but his shot went into the 17th row of the supporters back there. And look, people think I'm talking smack about Sonny again. But in that second minute, Amin Boudry with an excellent takeaway slots it over to Sonny. Bond again stones him. And then in the 6th minute, Denis Bouanga to Sonny, but he pushes it wide. Sonny finishes that 9 out of 10 times. It really could have been 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, but it doesn't matter, Philly. It's 2-0. It's 3 points on the road, and everybody leaves healthy.
Now, it is frustrating to see that, obviously, with the amount of money that he's getting. He needs to slot that home, but he did contribute to the success of that outcome. If he's going to have the yips, let it be now. Let him get it out of his system, so then that way when we play some stiffer competition, he gets all that rust off, and he can take care of business and do what we pay him to do and what we know he can do, because that man, without question, the most world-class player that we've ever had.
By the way, I do love some good Esquite. I'd be okay with that. But yeah, Stephen Eustachio, everybody knows his name now. Look, it's hard to know what to take away, right, from a match where you play up a man for 45 and up 2 men for the last 13 minutes. But we've said it enough. 3 points is 3 points on the road. We'll take it 100% of the time. Max Bretos put it great, right? Not one for the time capsule is what he said. But either way, great effort. Great to see LAFC scoring on set pieces, on drawn up plays, which was great. Hugo Lloris really not asked to do a whole lot throughout the first 2 matches of our season. Bam, that's a big question. There's too many teams there to choose from. Set piece defending, still not great. But Philly, the number that I thought was kind of fun, and yes, it was because we were playing 11v9, LAFC completing 750 passes in this one at 92% accuracy. So
that's called dissecting a whatever you want to call it. That's pure dissection. That's 11 players versus 9 players, realistically speaking.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Matty Bogus's final statistics, 45 touches in his 90 minutes, 0.05 XG and 0.33 XA generated. Those are expected goals and expected assists. He did create 3 chances. I believe that was the most on Houston. He had 2 shots, 1 blocked, suffered 2 fouls, committed none. Overall, though, kind of an okay day for Matty Bogus. So Philly, we get a week off, but then we get to run a pretty crazy gauntlet. We get to play Dallas at home, and then we play Alajuelense at home, and then St. Louis at home. All right, I'll take all 3 of those. That's Saturday, March 7th, Tuesday, March 10th, Saturday, March 14th. And then Philly, Costa Rica, once again, Alajuelense, March 17th. So 4 matches in 11 days, 3 of them, though, at home.
So nice to finally be at home. Are you going to Costa Rica? I mean, you went last time.
I went last time. I don't think I'm going this time.
Well, that's just kind of lame. I got games to call. Huh?
St. Patrick's.
Now we're in Costa Rica. I think I was calling MASL, shoot. But now that college baseball started, I don't have time to sleep, man. Like, I was looking at my schedule. I've got 4 days off, followed by 4 days on, followed by 14 days off, which will be the longest break I've had from calling games, going back to TBT in August. I can't wait. You will have a lot more info and a lot more pizzazz out of yours truly as we get to mid-March. Can't wait to sleep a little, man. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, Costa Rica on St. Patrick's Day. That's kind of fun. I don't know. Does Costa Rica...
We're all Irish on St. Patty's Day, mates.
Listen, I agree. Does Costa Rica celebrate St. Patrick's Day? That would be kind of fun.
There's Irish eyes smiling globally on March 7th.
Bam has a question for you there. I put it on screen, Philly. But either way, look, LAFC, San Jose, and Vancouver have all won their first 2 matches in the West. So no need to look at the table yet. No need to do any of the other stuff. Just keep on winning, and we're doing our thing. And like they say, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Philly, 4 wins in 4. 4 wins in 4. That's all you can ask. Philly, you're on mute.
That's weird. I don't even recall hitting that button. It's been one of those days. Listen, I'm happy as a clam. I'm quite content. For those who do follow this club, and I know there are plenty of you that do, and I did see the comments in the chat at the earlier parts of this podcast, Houston's not been a kind place to LAFC. 1 win. Now we have 2. That's a big win. And despite the fact that we did it 11v9, it still happened nonetheless. 4 straight wins to begin the season. I'm liking the way things are going. Not a great sample size of what's to come. We haven't gotten the best out of Sonny yet, but the best still is yet to come. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about this team. I'm feeling optimistic about this coaching staff. You and I have been in press conferences. We've had the opportunity to talk with the new coaching staff and the players and how they feel about everything going into this season. And there's a completely different vibe than you and I have noticed in any era, really, going back to Bob Bradley, really. The players are happy. They're having fun. They're smiling more. Things don't seem as serious. It's loose. And I think the locker room right now is in total unison and total harmony. And people are feeling very optimistic about the season. And we all should, because we're starting out red hot.
And listen, it's when you get to start a season, knowing that you'll have Denis Bouanga and Son Heung-min for the entire portion of it. I don't know how it gets better than that for LAFC, for LAFC supporters, for anybody related to the black and gold, for the employees in the building must be loving things right now too. So other than that, look, I know a lot of people are holding Sunday to a ridiculously high standard. Let's not forget how they ended
that much.
I'm with you.
It's very well warranted.
I'm with you, but don't forget, they scored 20 out of the last 24 goals to end the regular season last year, or to end the season, I should say, last year. We need some more players scoring goals besides Denis and Sonny. I would like to just see, obviously, a little bit more from Sonny in terms of putting the ball into the back of the net. But to me, there's no real difference. If Sonny's going to make a line-breaking run and then make the final pass to score the goal, to me, that's the same thing as him scoring a goal, as far as I'm concerned. So,
goal contribution is all that it boils down to. I 100% agree. Do I want to see him go golden boot numbers? Yeah, but I would have no problem if he was the leading assist man in the league either. As long as there's goal contributions that come from it, all the better. Saw how hard it was when we rode players like Chicho Arango or Denis Bouanga throughout the entirety of a season. It wasn't that great. But when you have a lot of people contributing and a lot of people scoring, that's unison, that's teamwork, that's harmony. And in this grueling version of MLS that we have to endure now with all these different cups, obviously the CONCACAF Champions Cup, obviously the stupid Leagues Cup that's going to come back and all that other stuff, you want everybody contributing. So amen to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. That being said, don't forget, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We'll have more info about the shop and some other things happening in a little bit. But until then, we've got like 5 or 6 days off, which is kind of wonderful. I know Philly's going to be working. I have parent-teacher conferences the next 2 days, so this should be fun.
Oh, gross.
But either way, you guys, this has been episode 397. Is that right? 397. Oh, my God.
Those are all lies. We're closer to 500. I've said this aplenty. The one more sleeps count as pods. Why we continue to refer to them as this, it's beyond me. Our track record is far greater than most podcasts, period.
Are you Geordie LaForge right now? What just happened?
Yes. I'm harnessing my inner Trekkie. Star Wars is better at the end of the day, but yeah. I don't know why I did this. I'm clearly tired.
You guys know how we like to end all these episodes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.